Welcome to the 2024 Research Seminar Series. This is session 5, and we are going to be looking at data cleaning in Excel. Specifically, I'm going to use 365, but whatever I'm going to teach you today applies to whichever Excel you are using right away from 2010, 2013, 2016, 2019, 2021, and if you are also having a subscriptions version like mine, 365, you're good to go. No issues here and there. So we have a data set like this, which is not clean, some untidy data, and then we need to check what is not clean and we clean it, and then we come up with something like this. From this untidy data to this, and what exactly have we changed? If I'm to bring the two together, you can see that from state your gender in this case, we are coding it and giving it a short kind of name like race gen. From state your age, trace age. From work affiliation, trace work, and so on and so on. Now, this one is special. You can see from one variable, we are picking 5. This happens when you have a question that is multiple response. So when it comes to organizing it for data analysis, you need to break it down into those different responses so that you can record it into a yes and a no. And this is exactly what we did. As you can see, once you have done that, then you create another sheet in your Excel where you are going to put the code and the description, as you can see from the arrows. And then from there, we can switch between one sheet to the other. If at all you find like you don't still remember what race gen is, then you can check in the description and then you are good to go. So this is the data set that I supplied to you. This is responses 1. It has up to 34 observations. Those are the entries from the different students that filled in their responses. So you still remember all these responses. The first column indicates issues to do with your gender. Then the next one is age. As you can see, this is a continuous variable, numeric variable. It is having just numbers. These ones are different categories, and these ones are also different categories. So we shall start by creating another sheet here. You click on new sheet, and I want to call it description. Description, sorry about that. Okay, and then I intend to call this one, shorten it, and keep it as response. Yes. Okay. So now, as you can see, this first row contains our data, our column heads. So we need to copy this one and push it somewhere under description, and then we put the codes like you saw in the video when we are watching it. So I'm just going to click here. You can see just this arrow, black arrow. So I click here and I press Ctrl C to copy. Then I come to here. I will come to here, the next B2 here, specifically B2, because the reason is why we are leaving space like this. So we put B2, and then we come to paste here, select paste special, then transpose, and then we click OK. So as simple as that. Then I will double click here to have this. Then I will shorten this. For example, state your age, so there is no need of keeping this description I had for you before. And then also this one is okay. It will keep there the way it is because that's what it's supposed to be. So this part I will just type that this is a description as that. And then I want to put something called code here because we are going to convert them into code. So I highlight this and I put this. So to me, I think we can either start from here or we go back here and start from here by changing the code. So let's just do it from this side, the way we have done it. So this, I want all this to be replaced by race gen as my code to represent gender. And then age, I just want to call it race age. Then work affiliation, I want to call it race work, like that. And I want the course, I want to call it race course, like this. Then the question, do you know any statistical analysis tool or software? I just want to call it no, like this. SAT, like this. No SAT. I can as well call it no SAT 0, something like that. Let me call it no SAT 0. There is no particular procedure here. It's all about what you want to do. And now, these are my column headers. So, I just want to copy this. This is from A up to E. This is up to knowing the software. So, I will copy this the same way we did. I will copy here. I will come to description. Now, I'll click here and click paste, special, and then transpose, and then press OK. So, you can see that the same codes, how I replaced gender, the code for gender I've put here, how I replaced no SAT, I've put this one. Now, there is a reason why I didn't do this. You can see that the question, the previous question was, do you know any statistical analysis tool or software? Then the next question was, here we expect a yes or no. Then we are saying, if yes, which of the following tools do you know? What does that word mean? And even in bracket, you can say, tick all that apply, meaning that someone can tick more than one. So we cannot code it like this. So we have to insert more rows to accommodate this. So in the questionnaire, there were actually 4 softwares. And then, remember, this is for if yes, meaning for someone who said if no, there is an option of putting not applicable. That means those will be 5. So we are going to create 5 variable rows here. And the quickest way is to highlight 5 and then you press enter, but we can use this one. Click insert here. As you come here, click insert a cell, insert another one, insert another one, another one, another one. Those are 5. So that's 5. So I want to actually do what we call coding from here. Then I will transfer to the other side. I can now say no. I'll start with Excel. For those who will be knowing Excel, then I can say I'm just copying and pasting no SPSS. Then I will put no, the next one is Stata or R, whichever arrangement, then just put Stata. And then the next one is no R. And mind about the way I'm writing, you don't leave space between the two. If you want to leave space, you can put an underscore like this, no none, for example. But because we want to keep them uniform, I will put an underscore. Once you leave space, R will not recognize that. And some other softwares like SPSS or Stata, they do not recognize this. Now that I have put this, I can also change the way it appears, because now this question is saying, if yes, there was a question that, if yes, which of the following do you know? So I can copy this question here, and I put if yes, I paste it here. But after putting if yes, I will just put Excel, meaning this person chose Excel. And I can repeat the same thing here. I actually paste it here. It is not working by selecting multiple rows. So I can just paste it here and I put this one is SPSS. I can put here and this one will be Stata. The same arrangement I was following. Then I can put this and I put this is the R and I put this is now none. Yes. So I can maybe change this one uppercase to lowercase, something like this. So you can see I've given a code and a description. This is the same thing I'm supposed to take the other side. But before I take it the other side, let me do some saving. I need to go the responses. As you can see, this is one column. I also need to create other columns, 5 columns like I've created the other side. So I do the same thing. Start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 5 columns. So if I want to copy the same code from the other side, I will just come here, pick these codes, copy them, come here, I select my 5 columns I've created, then I press paste, special, transpose, and they should automatically go where I need them to go in the 5 columns I've created. Then after I have created these 5 columns, I need to populate this data here in this column into the respective columns that I just created. And how do I do that? I will select these and then I come to my toolbar here, I select data, and then there is something called text to columns. I will click there and then to bring the dialog box like this. So as you can see, delimited is already checked, and when it is delimited, it shows us, you see there is someone like the second, let's scroll the first response, actually the second, this is the first response. This person said he or she knows Excel and then SPSS are separated by a comma. So that means that our data or our answers are separated. That's what we mean by delimited. And they are saying, is it delimited by commas or tabs or something? So ours is delimited by a comma. Keep that in mind. So we click next. And because we say it is separated by a comma, now you have to tell it that it is actually a comma. And once you do this check, if I check it out, it doesn't bring anything. If I do this, you see SPSS has been moved to another place. But there is a space here. We need to remove that space, but it will be tricky here. If I click this and put space, you see the problem. We have this other one which is not applicable and will be put in a different column. So because of that, we remove that and we don't tick this. We keep it this way and we click next. Then it is showing us how our columns will look like. Even after a comma, it will go to the next column, meaning after Excel, it will come into this column of Excel, and then this SPSS will come into the column of SPSS. So here there is something called destination. Where do you want this data to? So we click on this arrow, and it will be minimized this way. Then you can highlight the columns where you want to put this data like this. Make sure you only highlight where you want the data to be here. And then it will have selected from G2 to K34. Leave alone the dollars are supposed to limit you to that area. And then we click here to bring back our dialog box, and then we click finish. And when we click finish, you see what has happened. The magic that has happened has populated our data in different columns, but it is not perfect. As you can see, not applicable is supposed to come here, but did not come there because this person doesn't use any of these programs like Excel, SPSS, or Stata and give one answer. And remember, our command was that even after a comma, you push the next column. But here there was nothing to push to the next column. So this one, we do it manually, and you can just click here, press Ctrl X by cutting, and then you move using these arrows. move to none and you paste it there. I will do the same thing, cut, move, paste. Yes, here it is okay, SPSS is in the right place, not applicable is not in the right place. I cut, I take it to the right place. Now, the next move is now R. R is in the wrong place. I need to cut it and put it in the right place here. I scroll down, not applicable again. It is in the wrong place. I cut, I take to the right place. SPSS here, this person only said he knows SPSS. That's why you see Excel is not there. So you have to move it to the column of SPSS. We cut, we put it to that column. Not applicable, we need to move this to the right column. And also there is another SPSS which need to be moved up here. Not applicable, which needs to be moved to this place. SPSS which needs to be moved to its own place. And not applicable again, which needs to go to the next place. Now I have moved them to the right places. Now, before we go to the next step, I would like to save and then convert this whole thing. Now that I have moved that, I no longer need this column. I can delete it. It's not important, so I just delete it. And I can go to the same place here, this column, that is the one which contained that. I don't need it, so I can delete it. I no longer need it. So, play around with the tabs. Now we go to this. Now, there is this trick called Control T. We need to change this data set into a format. We format it into a table. So by pressing Control T, it will select up to 34. It has selected all the data sets we need. You see up to this level. So we click OK. What it will do, it will convert it into this. Yesterday when we were doing this, someone said we convert it to blue. It's only that the blue here, as you can see, it is the default here, but I can turn it to black, I can turn it to this color, I can turn it to this. I can even scroll and turn it to this color, depending on what you want to. I like this, let me use this. Or maybe I use something like green, but this one looks pretty good. So I scroll back to what I was doing. Now I come back to this. So now that we have this, then we can do some manipulation of this data. Like how? If I want to know, for example, here, how many said yes only, I will just click here, the drop down arrow, and select all, and I say I only want those of yes. When I click this and I click OK, it only shows me yes. And see how this one is different from this. This is a funnel, meaning you are filtering. So we have filtered out only yes, and we can see we are having, I don't know who is good at counting for me up here. So I'm not good at counting sometimes here, but then if I do this and clear the filter, I'll get back all my data. So that one helps us in filtering. That is what the advantage of having a table. And I have clicked on the table here because I want to give this table a name. And I want to call it from table 1, I call it table 1, I use the 1. Because sometimes we may refer to this table at one time. Like when we want to do some pivot tables and all that, we may need to refer to it. So go back home. And now we need to tell this software that wherever you see Excel, because the heading here is no Excel, so the answer here should be a yes or no. So we want to replace Excel with yes and replace these empty spaces with no. So we are going to select our data here, all of it up to where it is supposed to end. We are here, and we press Control F on our computers. And if you are on a MacBook, you press Command F. So we press replace, and then we are saying find what? I want us to delete whatever is there. Find what? Don't find anything. Find anything that is empty here and replace it with a no. Mind about that. And then I'm going to match the case and the entire cell content. is a condition, and then click replace all. See what it has done? It has made 119 replacements, and I click OK. Now this is in this kind of data set which had 34 respondents. But if you are starting from the one which had 58, then the number of replacements may be many or less. Then now, after refilling with a no everywhere, now I want to go specific to every column. For example, Excel, I'm going to say, find wherever there is Excel, you replace it with a yes. And the moment I click replace all, you can see 23 replacements were made. Then now I move from Excel, I go to SPSS. And I type S, find about this capital letter SPSS. And I'm saying wherever you find SPSS in this highlighted, you replace with yes. But remember, our SPSS, when you look at this is SPSS but with space behind, and here we have not put the space behind. So that means this one will not be replaced. But we have another SPSS, for example, these two, which don't have space. So the moment I press replace all, you will see this one is changing to no. Watch what is happening. They have changed and they are only 3. Now, to replace this, because I have restricted it to match entire cell contents, I will just put space in front. In computer language, we call it in front. You may call it behind, but it is in front. I put space and then replace all. So 9 replacements have been made. So now I move to Stata. Mind about the way you write it. Stata, wherever there is Stata, replace all. And you see it is telling us something funny, couldn't find to replace. So there is nothing to replace because Stata, all the Stata, they have space behind, or what you may call in front, depending on how you want to call it. So I put space in front here, and I replace. 3 replacements have been made. So the same applies to R. It means R also has space somewhere. So I will start R from here and replace. Only one was replaced. And then I see not applicable. All of it is starting from, because remember we cut it was the first one, so it doesn't have space in front, so it is okay. Then once everything is okay, you close. And now we have our data set which is clean up to this level. So these other questions, you are going to repeat the same thing. Now, like you see, which ones have ever used it? So for me, like here, I can say, have you ever used the above? So this is where we put the word use SAT 0. Remember the other side, I put no SAT. That's the reason why I put, because it is the same software, we're asking the same question. Have you ever, do you know? Then this question is, have you used? So there is where you find not applicable, not at all. So you can do that. There are those who have ever used, there are those who have never used, there are those where it does not actually apply, because for them they said they don't know anything. So it's not applicable. But you see, there are some people who say they know, like they have never used it, when in actual sense they had said it is not applicable, they don't know. So these are some of the things sometimes you need to clean and maybe change this one to not applicable, because actually that's what it is. And then now this column is the other column where you also have to separate it into 2 different columns and then do what I have just finished doing. So that is the procedure you are going to follow to have a cleaned data. So I want you to go through this, the whole data set. At the end of it all, you are supposed to have 74 columns of your data like this. And then you are supposed to have 92 observations, or what we call rows. These ones are just 34. But you will add more from the other responses, data response 2. to get to this. So I hope that was educative, and you can replay this video, keep replaying. When if I was very fast, you replay and then you are able to come up with something. And then actually I wanted to do something like here. What I want you to do, I would like that you just put like the word private company, you remove it and you just keep company. So that one I will also do it automatically by selecting the whole of this column and then press Ctrl F, match cases, and I replace. I say wherever you find the word private company, replace it with just the word private. And I click replace all, 6 were made. And then I'm also going to put that wherever you find a government employee, replace with just the word government, just like that, and replace. So it should be able to make 20 replacements, and that's all, so that we don't have a lot of words, right? It remains one thing. That's what I wanted to do. And then where we have NGO, we remove from the okay, now that these are few, I can just do them manually like this, and then I remove, and then the data becomes a bit clean, not so much. Yeah, something like that. And if you are not seeing like this, that you can just do some simple alignment like we usually do. Like I can just do this and just put them in the center. So there you can see them very well. No Excel, maybe yes and no, just double click, have the spaces reduced, and you'll go on doing this for the rest of the stuff up to 74 columns. So thank you. Bye.